Bitch. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to VPR Radio. It's your girl, Qianathegoddess. I'm here with my fantastic partner, DJFMi. And we're over here chatting about inflation and nail salons and finding the right barber and drama. Welcome to
Drama,
VPR.
drama indeed. It is a good Thursday, a happy Thursday. We are here to bring you some topics that pique our interest and just create some conversation around some positive energy. So yeah, now, just to tap back to what me and Kiana was talking back into before we got on air, guys. Around the area I'm living at, I'm in New York City, so I remember when haircuts was $15 VPR. So right now, batting, I'm paying $45 to $50 for a haircut, and that's all cool. Everybody got money, right?
Right.
Only if you doing my hair right. Now these barbers up here, I ain't trying to what I'm saying, in the valley area around here, it just ain't hitting. They push back hairlines and then just trying to charge you $50, and I'm just looking at people like, I'm gonna
Not
pay this
giving me
one
the
time.
LeBron and charging me
You
$50.
see, don't give me the LeBron, CP3, Michael Jordan on the way haircut. Like,
Oh.
what are we doing? And then and then the awkward stare after. You know when your barber or someone's doing your hair and you're not feeling it, and you just looking at them like.
Same with hairstyle, right? Because you're probably ready to punch them in the throat. Like, don't do that. Don't mess up my stuff and then overcharge me. Before we go on, I actually want to just give a big shout out to a couple of people on the live. Shampoo, congratulations on your Smoke Champs executive producer deal. We're super proud of you, bro. Like, you're doing it.
Very.
I see
all the hard work.
Swanson of Avnio and NFT fans. We appreciate you always. We got some great people watching and listening today. And I really can't wait to get into today's discussion because I can tell you just from my own personal experience, right? Like, I grew up dirt poor. We were in the projects. The projects were pissy. Like, people had no problem.
In the elevator, VPR. If y'all ever been to 12F, Red Hook projects back in the day, I'm gonna just let y'all know. Or Gravesend projects. You have pee in the elevator. It was just something you had to get used to.
And it's disgusting. Like, why pee in your own surroundings, right? So there's been this mental slavery that we know we've been captured in, and the mindset that's like, oh, who cares about this environment? It's dirty, it's low income, it's this and that. We already don't have access to things, but that kind of mindset sets in. So I know my house, like, it was very underfurnished. We didn't have a dining room set or anything for the longest, which really made no sense, but like, it was always dirty. You know what I mean? Dishes in the sink and this, that, and a third, like no kind of tidiness or upkeep. So for me, doing a lot of things that went against what I saw and was wrapped up in as a child when I became an adult was super important. So organization, I know you as a Libra probably are the same as me. This organization is so hard to focus and work. I'm like, oh my God, I got to clean this up. I can't write anything. I can't do anything.
Yeah. And just to tap into it, just like you said, if I'm in a dirty workspace, it affects my output of what I'm doing. And plus, I'm a creative. As a lot of people that tune in here at VPR, we have to be in a positive headspace in order to create music, anything that we do. So, and I want to touch on another thing too, Kiana. I feel like, when you have that awkward exchange when going over to somebody's house, they're like, oh, I got to clean. And they believe that their house is the dirtiest and that stigma. And I feel like today with the home, with Rebekah for the home organization, is going to help a lot of people just get a wind of that.
Yeah.
It's not discussed a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, because, I noticed that even in what she does as a career, right? I've seen a lot of women in that space that do like come in and do home organization. Not so many Black women. That's really kind of a whitewash kind of world.
Why would you think that's a thing? Because I have never seen that take. Yeah.
Just if you notice, on average, like if you watch television shows where they do reorganizing, because I love stuff like that. I have a little space, so you have to be creative in how you can kind of hide things. Like right now, my laptop is on top of an ottoman, which holds all of my nail products, right? But like it's hidden and it looks like a little piece of furniture.
We're from New York, so we multi-purpose things. We use them. Yeah.
Like a mofo. Like, oh, this is 5 things in one, right?
This is my couch. This is my workspace. And this is my car if I need be.
Dead ass. Because literally my kitchen space, it's kitchen, dining room, living room, all in one. It's so tiny and ridiculously tiny. But in that, I have to fit a love seat, couch, dining room set, and be able to stay within the realms of my kitchen safely without like bumping into my table and stuff. So you have to learn how to do that. And the organization is such an important part, because when you're disorganized, it really carries over into so many aspects of your life. Like that's something I'm always talking to my 9-year-old about, because he's just like all over the place. He's
Well, give him
literally
leeway. He's 9. You know what I mean? You step on a toy here or there. You know, hurt your foot. Some Legos at 9 a.m. Don't. Yeah.
We don't even allow Legos in this house anymore.
Oh, no. You can build something else.
Yes. Create with cardboard, because I ain't doing it. But listen, I know you had a lot you want to touch on. So before Rebekah comes in, let's go, partner. Tell me. Hey, Nicole.
I'm just looking at the comment section. What's going on, Nicole? You live in Northern Netherlands, Europe.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. So, one of the topics I was watching when I was online today, I seen the great artist Ashanti. She was doing an interview, and she brought up when she was working with the producer that she didn't name.
Yeah.
They were working together for like a month or 2 months every day in the studio. They built a great working relationship. And when it came time to actually release the single, the producer looked over at her and said, "Hey, how about we just, take a hot shower together and grab some food, and that will be the payment." And at first she thought it was joking. But he clearly wasn't. And when he continued to go on, she had to make a few calls to get that dealt with down the line. But what the reason I'm bringing it up on VPR is I just feel Ashanti's such a legacy act and a legendary artist within her own right, with what she has done for R&B and hip hop, that I think we're in a place where we need to out these people. You know what I mean? These execs that are acting strange, that are still preying upon women, like you know what I mean, or preying upon men too. It just needs to be called out. And I was more shocked that she didn't say it. And I guess that you have to keep certain relationships at bay. But to hear that happening to Ashanti, and to hear she's a legacy act and still a producer would want to try such a tactic.
There's no way that I'm surprised, though, partner. I mean, I've had many people try certain things on my side. So it's like, and I'm not Ashanti, right? So this industry, especially since it's so male driven and there's that like power dynamic coming from a lot of people, they think that they can get what they want from you because they have something that you want from them, right? And then if you don't give them what they want, they're not going to deliver for you. But the beautiful thing about breaking those chains is that even if you put yourself at the risk of being blackballed, whatever the case may be, you have to speak your truth. Maya also recently did an interview, and she wasn't talking about this, but she was just talking about how she said no to things. She's like, nope, I'm not going to do that, and I don't care. And she literally put the middle finger up. She's like, there's a lot of things I'm not going to sell my soul or my integrity for the things that I want. And they will try to use that over your head. I mean, that happens not just in this industry, though. I worked in the fashion industry for a while, and I had a couple of bosses, but one that was really, really brazen in his antics. And I had to like really put my foot down. I was in my early 20s. So I was like, he really thinks that like something is about to pop off with us? We're both married. You've got 2 sets of twins. I have 2 children. Like,
you see the host for that radio? I mean, for the show, I forgot what is it, ABC? They just sent over the 2 hosts. I forgot their names. The 2 anchors.
Man and woman.
The news. Yeah, it's a man and woman. They just got caught with their sex scandal. They both had significant others, and they had a private eye follow them.
JD, what?
Yeah, and while they were after the show, they would wrap up and head to the cabins, thinking nobody would see them. Their work buddies, and they're slapping butt cheeks, and they got it all on camera. They just fired them. Yeah, they just fired. You know what I mean? I felt bad. They off the clock. They minding their business. They ain't doing that work. And I just feel like Qiana, are we blurring the lines between privacy, yeah, as society, VPR, are we blurring the lines of privacy in our society now? Are we just getting to a place where,
hey Ronnie, I don't think there's any lines left, to be honest with you. If you go out on every corner, you'll find a camera, right? All of our devices, in order for us to use them properly, we have to give access to our camera, access to our microphone. They're listening. If you read through those 4 long terms and agreements that we
whole textbook of terms and agreements that that we should be watching,
right? Because they know that you're just going to scroll and say I agree. They're saying we have usage of we can record, we can do this and that. So you have to be really careful. But I don't think we're living in a society now where privacy is even a privilege, right? And so at the end of the day, if you want to be in a relationship, I don't know if these two were married.
I'm gonna look them up. They were both married.
Okay, so
and
then
they both got caught. Yeah, somebody sent the private investigator. Somebody said, you know what? I feel like my husband and my wife
exactly.
playing
So
around.
do like that's not a privacy situation. Don't be married. Like, and this is the thing that kills me about people. You
What's
don't
up?
have to be a liar, right? You don't have to be deceitful. You can live your genuine self. You're not in love with someone anymore. You don't want to be with them anymore.
And
let them know. Let them be free so that you both can start your life the way you like and you
see,
don't have to live behind closed doors.
and Kiana was the ABC News TJ Holmes and Amy Robach.
Okay.
Yeah, they're cheating scandals. Yeah, and I feel, and I'm just like, you know, I love their chemistry on camera.
Right.
And
Now you know
just,
why.
it's sad, you know, but
Right.
these things happen. And just to tie in on that, when it comes to like leaving your significant other, I heard a story from a gentleman, and I was at a bar and I met him, and he just told me something that broke his heart when it came to his wife, VPR. So I need y'all to listen with me and just give some answers in the section below. So he has his wife, and he ended up cheating, and she ended up finding out. Mm-hmm. Now they have 2 kids together. The problem in their relationship now is his wife said, I can't trust you. The only way for me to trust you is now, since you're sleeping around, let's be in an open relationship. He begrudgingly agreed to it, Kiana. Things go on and they persist. He starts to notice his wife not giving him a warm embrace as much anymore. Right. She's coming home and taking showers. She's not, you know, laying down, coming home at the same time. So now the roles started to reverse, and he still feels bad about him cheating the first time and being caught, where he's been in a relationship now for a year, that he's maybe had sex 3 times in the year. He's trying to hold her. He's trying to come close
3 times. I guarantee you that.
And yeah, so he's at this tough place, and he's telling me, he's just like, I don't know, like I want to continue the relationship that I've started with my wife, but I just feel like there's no more affection, and I'm the only one wanting this to go forward, while we're just existing around each other for the kids now. And they had a rule now. The rule, she said, is if you do something, if you kiss or whatever or have sex, you don't talk about it. You don't say the person's name. You don't. And he had to agree to it. And now it's just slowly killing him inside. And he was just talking to me. He's just like, hey, what should I do? And here we are on VPR Radio on Thursday.
You have people coming to you with some heavy stuff, bro. I swear to you.
It's our energy, you know?
Yeah,
and
it's the energy. I always get stuff like this. But I think what people don't understand is you can't destroy trust and then expect people to trust you. Right? You can't destroy love and commitment and then expect the same level of love and commitment, because it doesn't mean that someone stops loving you, you know, because you've hurt them, but now it hurts them to love you, right? And that's where it begins. And I think with women, right, speaking as our sex, and even now men in this society too, when that mental bond is broken, that physicality, it doesn't matter how attractive the person is, how great your sexual chemistry is. If we don't, like, if I feel like I can't trust you, or I feel wary around you, I can't trust my heart with you, I feel disgusted. Like, I don't even want you to touch me. You know, I really feel disgusted. So I can only imagine. And she said, well, you want to stay married. It sounds like she had this in her mind. And, you know, I don't want to spin scenarios, but maybe she was already talking to someone else about what was going on. And they were like, well, why don't you do this? And why do you think the terms were set as don't talk about it? Didn't want to talk about indiscretions either.
And I felt this man's pain. Like, you know, he's just like, it's not the same. And I can't even have sex with anyone or touch anyone because I still feel shameful from the time where I cheated and got caught. So I can't even enjoy this. And I'm watching her just like get further and further away from me. What do you say to somebody like that? Like, you know what I mean? I'm sitting there drinking my scotch. I just came out for whiskey. I had a long night, sir.
Now you need to solve his problem.
Yeah.
For me, I'm all about the tactful truth, right? You cannot, even just with the universe, trying to hold on to things that are no longer going to work for you, whether you broke it or it naturally broke, it's going to be a problem. You have to separate that cord. You have to let go, because that's where the healing begins. You should feel shameful that you cheated. But guess what? Now you have to get to a place where, especially if you have kids, you guys can co-parent. You can learn how not to be that person, and learn why you had to be deceitful instead of being able to come to your partner and talk about whatever your concerns were that led to that extramarital affair, right? But as hurtful as it is, staying together for the kids as is an option for many, but it's really not a viable one, because your children are the first ones that can tell how unhappy you are. They feel that, you know.
Yeah, and they channel that energy as well.
Mm-hmm. And you're showing them an unhealthy, unbalanced relationship. Personally, I will never get married again if I can't show my children what it looks like to be in love and be in a healthy, balanced relationship.
And
Because I already got married and showed them what it was like to be in a very unbalanced one. And I said, no, no more. So it's a decision-making process, right? And it doesn't mean either that all of the weight of the relationship fell on him. Maybe there was something that drove him to cheating. Like, all of that needs to be delved into. They need therapy and healing, really.
and a lot of people run from therapy. Even myself saying that, I thought about it a few times. We go through so much traumas, especially in relationships. You have to make a decision to want this to work. You have to make a decision
Mm-hmm.
to want to stay in it. It's not as easy as, we're just going to let time go by. How about when you're with your lover, plan for things for the future, whether it be a vacation, so both of you are working towards something, or just to have those pit stops in your life to make it feel like, hey, we're achieving something together. I think that's pivotal in any relationship. And when that gets lost,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just being with the person to be with the person, things like this happen where you get cheated on, and your wife is now making love to other men or a woman and coming home to you and just giving you what's left.
Don't ask, don't tell, right?
You know what I'm saying? You won't get what's left.
Ooh, that's a hard rule, right?
She
Don't
coming
ask,
home.
tell.
Yeah. He's sitting with that till this day, and hopefully he finds his way through it. What I said to him that night, I just said, it depends. If you could see the bigger picture with this woman and maybe finding your way back around, and you have to come to forgiving yourself wholeheartedly, organically, and hopefully you take that advice and he uses it, because I'm always big on love. But another thing, another case before we have our guests come up, the Tory Lanez and the Meg Thee Stallion case is getting deeper and deeper, guys. It has been a year and change since this debacle has started.
Great word.
For me, Qiana, for me, it's just, when I hear a person's story change a whole bunch of times, that just raises red flags. The tricks that some of her lawyer and her labels were pulling just in paint a picture in a certain way, that just paints a certain energy. I just want this to be settled, and if the crime was committed, somebody got to go to jail, because the case don't went on too long. Somebody got to get locked up now, and that's how that go.
Right. I wonder why we're seeing this case so often, and I wonder what's going on behind the scenes to keep us distracted in the interim, but here we go. So, partner, I see that Rebekah has just slid in, and I'm so happy and thrilled to have her here with us on VPR. So let's add her to the stream. Good morning, Rebekah. How are you?
Good morning, Qiana. Hi.
What's going on, Rebekah?
Good morning.
We are so happy to have you here. We were touching a little bit on, the whole process of the mental trauma, the disorganization, and growing up, economically challenged and in underprivileged type of situations, how easy it is to fall into that level of, disorganization, messiness, and how it carries over into other areas of your life. So I know you have a lot. I know you have a story to tell, and I really just want to delve into it. I want to begin with why you thought this was an important field for you to get into.
Oh, man. I think I experienced firsthand the power of organization, and I experienced how disorganization, how disempowering that could be as well. So I experienced what it's like to not feel good in my home. I didn't understand what it meant to feel at peace at home, to love my home, order. Like I didn't know what any of that meant. All of that was foreign to me. And so knowing that as I got older, as I was exposed, as I started to curate my own spaces, I realized like how important it is to have a safe space, a sanctuary, but even to be connected to your home and know what it means to like love your home and enjoy your space. And yeah, it's so funny how many people I meet that don't know what it feels like to be at peace in their home. So that's what that it was so important, because I experienced it, and I realized so many other people are also experiencing that disconnect.
So my first question to you is, who is your typical client?
It's a great question. So as I am getting deeper into my business, my clients are changing and evolving and growing, and I am starting to see a range in my clients, which I think is amazing. But there is a commonality for the most part with most of them. And so my typical client does look like a Black middle-aged woman, really successful in her space or established in her career. And she is looking to make her space more comfortable after either years of it not being comfortable, after years of it being in a certain state, and then wanting something different, something better. So that's the typical client, while it's starting to look different. So yeah.
Well, we love to hear, the client evolving, because that just means that your business is continuing to thrive and grow.
Yeah.
I really want to delve into some of the psychology behind it all, right? Because I know that you're super brilliant. You have these degrees, so you understand more than just the aesthetic of messiness. Can we delve into a little bit of like the trauma and the psychology and triggers behind that, and even like hoarding and some of those more intense levels of like disorganization and chaos?
Yeah, it's so many different levels, and what I like to dive into is the understudied community, us African Americans, and our stuff and our trauma. I don't think that there's not a lot of studies, there's not a lot of research that kind of like follows us through, our life path, and like how clutter impacts us, and the ways in which that like home and belonging and ownership, and how all of these things impact us. But there isn't a lot of research that follows us and studies us. And so for me, what I've saw a lot is just like qualitative research. So talking to folks, having my clients, just seeing the different experiences and gathering data in that way, just having conversations and having different clients where I'm able to say, I'm seeing like different commonalities, where I think there's a lot of like shame in all folks who experience extreme clutter. There's shame. And I think for us, it takes on a different level and a different meaning. There's so many of us that are living in isolation and feel like it almost like contradicts our identity and who we present to the world, and then how our space is. There's a lot of like internal conflict, and that alone can almost keep someone from even inviting a professional into their space or getting the help that they need, because of the fear, the deep fear of judgment and the deep shame. It runs so deep. Excuse me.
Right, I agree with that.
Someone can go decades without ever asking for help, until maybe they're forced to get help, but almost rarely on their own. So there's definitely different levels. And I think with a lot of like the folks that I work with and the people that I attract, the resistance to getting help is also really deep, because we may not see or connect the value of professional organizing to our mental health or to our sense of self and our overall being. Like what we may value, we're putting value maybe on like material things more, or we're putting more value onto like external things that people can see. And it's the main reason why someone can be very well presented and their home could look a certain way, because of the value that is more put on the way that they present, the way that they walk into the world. And this is often why you may not know what someone's space looks like, because it's like a big secret, and they carry that shame with them. That shame, I see it, I speak to folks, talk about it, we dive into it, and so it's a lot of education that's needed, because we're having to like how do you break down that shame? How do you like pierce it? And it's definitely like a long game. So that's like just touching on it a little bit.
If you're touching on it a little bit, I wish we had like 50 bombs to drop, partner, because
seriously, if I had my sound effect board right here, I would have been going on.
I know on my Instagram, because I mute while you're talking, but on my Instagram, I'm just like,
And Rebekah, I'm sitting here, I'm thinking about all the times when I was a kid, right? And I grew up in the projects, but I knew my family and my parents, we always painted the house. We had it done up. Even though we lived in a project, our apartment was always done up. So when it would come time to invite friends over, and they'd be like, we don't invite friends over. And then when I actually went over to one of my friends' house and they seen my house, they were blown away. And I was like, wow, I thought this was normal. Then I went to their house and I seen stuff like stacked up to the wall. And it's cool. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I get it. You know, stacked up to the wall. It was crazy. But you would think this person gets straight A's, sharp as a tack, that they would be more on top of things like this. But it really goes to show, how many times did I speak to this person where they're like, oh, I want you to come over. You know, we could work on this, but it's a project in college. I'm like, I hear you, bro. I'm not trying to fail.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, it's definitely a stigma that comes along with that, with the whole home organization. So my next question to you is, what is the first thing you do with your clients when you go to help them organize?
Great question.
Yeah, that's a great question. So a part of my services, I look at a space as like a full room transformation. So when I see a space, regardless of the state, I'm seeing it at its fullest potential. So some clients need solely decluttering. Some clients need more organization. Some clients also need decorating. So for my service, all of it is together. So before I even walk into a space, like I have a call with my clients and I really try to figure out like, what is it that you want for your space? Because I don't want to go into your space as a reoccurring thing. We're trying to like really fix what is happening. And so that is why we're looking at the full space. So not just what you need to get rid of, but what do you need to get organized? And then what other systems, how else can we beautify the space so the space could be complete? And so the first thing is I'm like asking like, what is your ideal for your space? Like, what do you want? How do you want the space to function? So really gathering information. So when I make suggestions, I'm making suggestions. And when we create like a plan, I'm creating a plan based off of like your wants and your needs, and then taking into account like what I know is possible for the space and like what makes sense for, budget and timing and all of that. And so before we go into a space, we have a plan. And then once I get into a space, the first thing we're figuring out like what needs to go. That is like my favorite part, and it's the hardest part because folks,
you just throwing out people's stuff now.
So I never force anyone to throw out anything. And I will say this has always been like a mandatory part of my services, that I only take on people that are ready to get rid of things. So, sometimes folks want to hire me to help their aunt or their, an elder to help them get rid of things. And I'm like, I would love to. Do they know you're doing this? Are they on board? Mm-hmm. That is the only way. So definitely I do make strong suggestions based off of, I got a sense of what you want. So I definitely make suggestions, but I don't just go into a space and like throw people's stuff out. I do take it really serious, people's things. Because I know being in someone's home is a very, especially for us. Ooh, we do not let people in our So I take it very seriously. And so building that trust is very important. So I never just go in and just kind of like being the dictator. This is what we're getting rid of. And this is the reason why I like start out with listening to folks and asking them questions of like, what do you want? So they know that I heard and I understood what they want. And if I'm making a suggestion, it's in their best interest and it's based off of what they already shared with me. So
I love the uniqueness of what you do, because every client that you're working with, it's going to be a little bit different, right? And you have to really tailor it to what they want, which is a beautiful thing. So I have a two-part question. The first is, when because you mentioned like having multiple, right, people, when you, or not multiple people, but going back and forth, you just want that to be a one-time service that you're able to declutter, help them organize. What about the people that fall into not being able to keep up with the organization? So like, I took some of your pictures from your assets, right? And you had like this little wicker basket, and inside were all these folders and stuff. That's great. That's my kind of thing. But what happens when people don't go and put the papers where they belong and they start piling up and stuff again? Do you see that happen frequently? And if so, how are you able to stop that and get people to be like, hey, pick up and do this and do that? How do you keep them on their game?
Girl, that happens with me too. I think
Right.
there is a misconception that organization is perfection, and it takes away us being human, and it takes away from lifing. Like life happens, things happen. Sometimes I have a pile of papers that I need to put away in my filing bin. One thing that organization provides is like the foundation. Just like we have good habits, and sometimes life happens, we stray away, but we have that foundation to return to. The whole idea is being able to get back on track more quickly and with more ease. That's for me really the whole idea of organization. So yes, there are folks that I think there is a learning curve, especially if you're not used to a system or if you're not used to organizing. And that's okay. Like there's room for that because you're human, right? We're all human. And so I think what I try to like kind of tell my clients to give themselves grace. I give myself grace because at the end of the day, we do have a tendency to kind of like do things that we're just familiar with. So any new system we're going to resist. So it's going to take time. I do try to create systems that already align with, someone's personality or align with someone's like the structure in their home that they're already following. That is important as well. And sometimes we have to create whole new systems that you've never done before. And so there is a learning curve and it is going to take time, and like, that's okay. So I think that's kind of like the part with just a misconception of like organization, and it doesn't equals perfect, because like my home, I have a 19-month-old, so she could care less about my system.
Oh, please. I already know. She's like, bam, 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 bam.
She could care less. She's like,
especially with kids, right? They're just everywhere. And I love that. I love that you said, give yourself grace. I say that constantly to clients, to people, because sometimes we do put that undue pressure on ourselves, right? And it's like, oh my God, I've messed up. My life is over. No, give yourself some grace, give yourself some time, beautifully stated, the learning curve. Yeah. So the other part of my question was, for someone that isn't using your services right now, someone that's just watching on the live, what couple of tips can you give them that they can do today to help get their space a little bit more organized?
Yeah, this is my favorite tip, is really decluttering. One thing that tends to occupy our homes, and it's occupying our home, is like other people's stuff. Your friend left her umbrella. You got some stuff that you need to give to your cousin, you need to send away. You got some Amazon packages that you need to return. Like, it just feels like you times that by 50, it's just mad stuff that be in our house that just like isn't ours, and we need to get rid of it. So I feel like putting all those items, whether it's in the trunk of your car, whether it's in, creating like an area in your entryway, just the whole idea is to eliminate things out of your space. Declutter. This is a part of decluttering. Just like, how often and how many items can you like get out of your space? And so I think that's a good place to start, is like stuff that doesn't belong to you, stuff that needs to go somewhere else. Because then what's left is like, you have the things that are yours. So I think that's a great place to start.
I'm sitting here like, all right, I need to buy some organized, some like shelves or something. I'm like, I just need to organize everything. You got me looking around everywhere. I'm a DJ, so I like to have as much systems as possible when it comes to my wires and everything like that. So my next question to you is, what has your profession taught you yourself about you?
Oh, this is a great. That's so good. I want to. So it's so funny because I was talking earlier about like shame and identity and how like we present ourselves to the world one way and then maybe we feel embarrassed. I struggle with that as well. And it's whack. So it's definitely taught me that I need to like unpack my own like perfectionism. I need to almost like release the need to like uphold this like identity and the way that I present myself to the world. You know, like I need to release that as well and do that work as well. So it's definitely tough. So like, and I'll give you an example. Like sometimes I may not post on Instagram if my house doesn't look a certain way. And even if I work myself through like, girl, it's okay. Like you're human, you got a baby. Of course the house is gonna get messy. Even after I work through that, it's still extra work to like convince myself that it's like, girl, it's okay to show up as is. And it's like we say this, but sometimes in the thick of it, in real life practice and implementing it, it's really hard. And I can go days without posting on Instagram because I'm feeling like what my world is not a representation of me. And it's not even whether it is or isn't. The point is like just wanting to show up perfect and reminding myself that like I need to show up as is always. And that takes work. Like that's that shadow, that's that work that it takes daily. And so that my business definitely told me that like I need to do the work to remind myself and to remember that I need to show up as is. So
I love that because your authenticity, I met her personally at the, was it the Hello Alice MasterCard event?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we met a bunch of different business owners and we were just standing there chatting about this particular topic. And I was like, let's book you for VPR right now. I'm going to tell you our first available date. And we connected. Your authenticity definitely shines through. Definitely. So I think that's great. And I just want to encourage you to continue to show up as yourself and give yourself that same grace that you want your clients to give, because it is important, right? That we see someone who teaches us how to organize, has a baby that throws toys everywhere, and it's okay to make a video. Because I know, let me tell you something, my living room used to just be toys. Pick them up, toys. Pick them up.
Honestly, like these kids don't have any respect. But no, yeah, it's crazy. Like we talk about it, like, you know, show up as yourself authentically, be yourself. But I feel like it's actually hard. Like we compare ourselves, and then in this just kind of like hyper visual world, we kind of see people's highlight reels, and it's really easy to like get into your head. And so I feel like it's just been a lifelong journey for me to always show up authentically. And then my business has taught me like, wow, I still have a lot of work to do to be okay with me and to continue showing up like as me and not taking people's compliments to heart, because then what ends up happening is when I'm not getting the validation. So your validation, you know, if you hate me or like me, none of it is going to get taken to heart because my validation comes from within. But that shit is hard. That is like, that's a work. I mean,
you're speaking the gospel. You're speaking the gospel right now.
Partner, you know, you're right in my head, right? Like I was literally about to say, I didn't know we were going to church today, but I figured
you're speaking the gospel right now. VPR, listen up. I'm telling you now.
Hands out this piece because, girl.
Yeah. I mean, that's what my business is teaching me. Like, I need that internal validation is literally key. So that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. I've never been asked that question, but
powerful. Well, that's what we do here on VPR. We ask the questions other people don't think about.
I've heard.
So before we wrap up and you make sure we give everybody your socials, my last question is, when it is actually, in your opinion, what's the most important personality trait for someone starting out in your business? So a new entrepreneur.
The most important. So I was going to say authenticity. But I think
Okay.
so. I'm gonna say being able to like adapting to like the climate, but also just adapting to like the needs of the clients, adapting to your own needs, and the changes in your life. So I feel like adaptability, being comfortable with like change, which is so hard sometimes. It's easy when we want to change, but then when we're like, oh no, I don't want to change that. So I would definitely say adaptability for sure.
Okay. And can you tell me where they can find you on your social media, if you have a website, so at least everybody that's tuned in right now could get in touch with you?
Yes. So I'm on Organized for Love on all social platforms, but I'm primarily hanging out on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. So that's Organized for Love. And then you can book me through my website, organizedforlove.com. I am taking clients for 2023.
Okay.
And yeah, let's chat. So can't wait to meet y'all.
I'm looking forward to it. Do you have like, my question is, this is my personal question too before you get up out of here. I'm like, do you have a personal like a virtual tour? Because I don't know, are you stationed in New York? So at least where are you based? So you know what I mean?
That's a great question. So I'm based in Staten Island, New York. And if you
you're right at home. You're right at home. Say live.
Yes, I'm from Staten Island as well. If you Google Organized for Love apartment therapy, there's my house tour. So I don't know if you were talking about my house tour. No.
I'm gonna say if someone wanted to do a virtual like house tour in order to get a quote from you or their space, like would that be something that they can do?
Yes. So when you go to my website, organizedforlove.com, you can sign up for a complimentary tour. And so that way I see your space and really tell you like, this is what it's going to cost. This is how much it's going to take. This is when we could get started. And so when you go to my website, organizedforlove.com, sign up for that call. And that's how people kind of get started.
Yeah. You guys make sure you book that free consultation and get your space organized with love, for love, by the beautiful Rebekah. So before we let you go, I would love for you to leave our last word. We love to leave our audience with just positive vibes for the day. Can you leave us with that?
That deep breath.
Yeah, you know exactly what you need. And what is most likely in your way is the self-sabotage and thinking that whatever you need is outside of yourself, with someone, with a particular outcome. Once this happens, once that happens. But I know for me, and this is the advice I would give because this is something I need right now, and I feel like that's always comes from a best place, is like you have everything you need. And nothing is going to come until you realize like all the power is within you.
Hey.
VPR, y'all heard it here first. Thursdays.
Yes. Make sure you guys go and follow her. Book her, www.organizedforlove.com. Follow her at Organized for Love. And we would love to have you back. So I'll speak to you behind the scenes and we'll talk about next season.
Definitely.
Thank y'all so much. This was incredible.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining us. You're incredible and we appreciate
you. Have a good one, y'all.
Bye, Rebekah.
Bye.
Thank you. Amazing, right, partner?
Yeah, I'm like VPR. As soon as I turn off this computer, I'm gonna just start organizing something. I don't know what I'm gonna organize yet, but I need my room to feel like feng shui, my house to feel like feng shui. Go outside, clean the driveway. I'm pulling into the driveway. Got some leaves leaning over. It's annoying me, hitting me when I get out the car.
Right. You go Organized for Love. I love it.
Of course. VPR, we love bringing you all these episodes here. Make sure you tune into our YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, all of those great content platforms so you could just absorb our content and just get into our love and light here on VPR, man.
Absolutely. And thank you to all of our watchers from around the world, from Netherlands, from Argentina.
Thank you, Nicole. Argentina,
Texas, Virginia, everywhere you're watching from.
And shout out DJ T-Dub at Area 86. I ain't see their name pop up in a minute and made me hella happy today. You know that.
Yeah, we had Shampoo. We had so many incredible people on the live. Jason Swanson, Joseph Chapman from Imperial Elite Music Group. So many dope people. We appreciate you always. Thank you for sharing. Partner, you're the best ever. And we'll see you guys next week.
I got a meeting to go to, VPR. Corporate holidays. Let's go.